The Orlando Magic have signed Jalen Suggs to a brand new extension. He joins the show to tell us what the contract means and a whole lot more today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is October 21st. It will be October 22nd, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, Jalen Suggs signs a 5-year, $150.5 million extension. He joins the show to tell us what it means to him and how this team continues to come together. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, I want to let you know that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. The big news of the day, the big news we were waiting for all day Monday, the Orlando Magic have signed Jalen Suggs to a 5-year, $150.5 million contract. Terms of the deal are, the full details of the deal are not yet revealed, not yet known, but this is obviously a huge deal. Just from a very basic standpoint, the Orlando Magic have now locked in their core players. Wendell Carter got a new extension. Jonathan Isaac got a new extension. Franz Wagner got a max extension. Cole Anthony got his contract last year. Paolo Banchero gets his new contract next year. Jalen Suggs gets his deal this year. And while it certainly feels like it was inevitable that Jalen Suggs would get a new contract, he was so vital and such a central piece of the Orlando Magic's culture, of the kind of team that they're trying to build. It was inevitable that he would get a deal done. The Magic were never going to let him go because he is so vital to so many things that they do. He is a connector off the floor guy that clearly is just in it for his teammates, is the backbone of this team, the head of the snake, as Jamal Mosley always puts it, for their elite defense, an all-defensive team player. Jalen Suggs is someone that sets the culture for this team. And while, yes, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner have the ball in their hands a whole lot more, and their offense and their leadership matters, Jalen Suggs is the heartbeat of the team. And it made sense that the Magic would eventually make sure that he was on this team for a very, very long time. $30 million per year, which is the average value that, roughly of the contract, was about the number that he was always going to get to. I know there's still sticker shock from the way contracts are kind of developing and coming up through the league right now. I get that. There's still very much sticker shock about that because, the salary cap is just making this gigantic leap, this gigantic jump. But this is the cost of a high-level starter. This is the cost of an all-defensive team player, of a potential 3-and-D wing that it could be among the elite 3-and-D players. This is what you pay for players who are so vital to your championship efforts. The Magic are over the salary cap. We knew that. They're going to be bumping up against the first apron here very, very soon. Those cap consequences are coming, but the Magic can afford to do that now because they have a clear path to winning. And quite frankly, there is no path to winning without Jalen Suggs. Now, there's obviously risk involved. We can't deny this, even though this is the easy decision. Signing a 23-year-old guard who has done everything you've asked him to, was so vital to your playoff success. You pay for that. You don't sleep on that. You don't give that away. That's what the Magic kind of did with Victor Oladipo when they're afraid to give him his big contract. Jalen Suggs is, maybe not as productive statistically as Victor Oladipo is, but he's someone that you make sure you keep in the family, that you keep on the team, especially if you're a team that values continuity the way the Orlando Magic value continuity and wants to continue building and growing the way that this team has built itself and grown itself over the last several years. Last year, of course, Jalen Suggs averaged 12.6 points per game, a career high. Shot 47.1% from the floor, a career high. 39.7% from three, 57.8% effective field goal percentage, only 2.7 assists per game. He was named to the second team all defense in the NBA, was 8th for most improved player, 10th for defensive player of the year. Suggs is a player who sets the tone for everything that the Orlando Magic are trying to do. He sets the tone for every piece of this Magic puzzle. And even though he had 2 injury-filled years, even though he had 2 seasons that did not live up to the expectations, the Magic still had an understanding of what they had. They still had an understanding of this is a player that can take us from point A to point B. And eventually, it just comes down to this. Do you believe in the direction this team is going? Do you believe the Magic are a team that is at least somewhat on the cusp of contending, somewhat on the cusp of growing into a championship team? And at the end of the day, the way teams operate now is you operate over the cap, you make trades. Not that Jalen Suggs is anywhere going to get traded. He's too important to this team. He is the heart and soul of this team. And the Magic are betting that he will have a season exactly like he had last year, if not better, now that he has this confidence. Now that the Magic have put this confidence in him, not only in giving him a new contract, but in giving him this role as essentially the team's point guard, trusting him not only to be the heart and soul of this team, but part of its mind, part of its nervous system, if we're going to continue that biology analogy. Jalen Suggs has meant so much to what the Magic are building. Maybe not in the way we all imagined he would when the Magic drafted him 3 years ago, but this was inevitably where the team was headed. And you can quibble, I guess, a little bit with the length. Some people are still a little bit with the sticker shock. But at the end of the day, Jeff Weltman has done what he has always done. He's invested in the people. He has invested in the person. He has invested in the group that he has built. And they've given him no reason not to make that investment, to be perfectly honest. No reason not to do so. We'll talk a little bit more later on about what that means and now how the Magic move forward. But I actually had the opportunity to speak to Jalen Suggs shortly after the contract was signed, thanks to our friends with Call of Duty Black Ops. We will chat with Jalen Suggs coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can continue this season and start your NBA season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many great offers to get you going for the NBA season, including the Orlando Magic at over/under 47.5 wins. You can get the Magic to win the Southeast Division. That is now looking at -140. It stayed there for a little while. The Magic are actually plus 1,700, so 170 to 1 odds to win. I'm sorry, 17 to 1. 17 to 1 odds to win the Eastern Conference. So pretty good. They're actually only behind the 4 that you're thinking. And yes, they have games up now. The Orlando Magic have moved to 2-point underdogs heading down to Miami. I'm sure that's going to make Magic feel very, very spicy as they're looking to continue to build respect in the Eastern Conference. You can find all these great deals. Again, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. So Jalen Suggs has signed his new extension, and obviously it is a big deal. Paolo Banchero was doing a diary with Anscape, according to Mark Spears, and was doing an interview with them when the news broke. He said he was excited to give Jalen Suggs a call to congratulate him, and saying this is life-changing money. And obviously Paolo's about to sign his big extension next summer. It is indeed life-changing money. And I fortunately had the opportunity to talk with Jalen Suggs shortly after he signed the extension, literally when he got home from signing the extension, thanks to our friend from Call of Duty Black Ops, which launches globally on October 25th. Jalen Suggs is a big Call of Duty fan. He actually is associated with the Call of Duty team. He claims he's the best player on the team. A lot of players on the Magic play Call of Duty. So without further ado, let's hear from Jalen Suggs shortly after signing his new extension. And we are now joined by the man of the day, man of the hour. It's Orlando Magic guard Jalen Suggs. Jalen, congratulations, man. How did it feel to finally put pen to paper?
It's still surreal, to be honest. It's still hard to come to words. Me and Jeff spoke earlier today. And I realistically, to be honest, I told him the money doesn't matter to me. It'd be great to be compensated, but the money doesn't matter to me. I'm rich already in spirit. God has blessed me in so many ways, and to have this come true, generational wealth, be a reality. Something that me and my dad have talked about countless times. While we were living with my uncle, in the basement, sharing a room with my sister. And having conversations about the future. This is what we spoke about. So for this to be a present reality, it's a beautiful thing.
Just beyond the personal gratification, we know how close this team is and what you guys have accomplished in the last 2-3 years. What does it mean to say, at least as far as everything's being planned for the next 5 years, this is the group. These are the guys that you'll be riding with.
I don't want to go to war with nobody else, or for no other city. This is where I've called home. This is where we've all called home. This Kia Center is the building where we've created memories to last a lifetime. From being in there and having losing seasons and just playing hard and trying to create and establish a culture, to establishing that, then playing playoff games in there and winning playoff games in there. Too many special memories have been created together. I've grown too much. This place has taught me too much and has meant too much to me. For me to comfortably walk away from it, which is why I said I was already rich. I was already here. That's the part that mattered to me most. And so, for Jeff and AP and Pete, Merv, for all these guys to invest in me like this, it means a lot. And you thought I was playing hard then. And my family has shown that they believe in me, and they trusted me. They got everything that they can get out of me.
We hear so much about this Magic team, specifically about how it's this family atmosphere. And, obviously we see it, you see how you guys interact and how you guys play on the floor. To be in this moment where, all of you guys are hitting that age or hitting that time in your careers where you get that first, that you're coming off the rookie contract. What does it mean to, know that Franz is going to be here? Wendell got his deal, J.I. got his deal. Paolo is next summer. Cole got his last year. What does it mean that this team is so invested in not just you as a player, but you guys as a group that have grown together so much?
It means a ton. And I brought the group together the day after practice, before we went back and went to work and finalized on everything. Just telling them that literally throughout the whole summer, they have been on my mind constantly. On days when this has been hard, on days when the negotiations and talks and just tensions were building up, and it felt like too much. I could always go back to thinking about my brothers, and knowing and understanding that I'm working towards locking in a future with them, for continued opportunities to work, to play, to laugh, and to create moments and memories with them. That kept my heart happy. That kept my eyes forward and on a goal. And so I'll be forever appreciative for them. And knowing that everybody's here and locked in, everybody reaped the rewards of all the hard work, or is about to reap the rewards of their hard work. It means the world, and we all get to celebrate it together. We all get to go about it and go through it at the same time, and learn from each other, grow off of each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing. This business, because it is a business, that gets lost sometimes. And it got lost a few times this summer, but I'm just so happy to be here, to be honest. So happy I don't got to say I'm going nowhere else. I never wanted to. I never want to. And my heart's full at this moment.
Obviously you guys are all of about the same age. We're here thanks to Call of Duty. How do you guys kind of interact off the court? How do you what do you guys do to kind of build that camaraderie off the court as much as we see it on the court?
It's crazy you say Call of Duty. Me and AB was on Black Ops 3 playing the Rise and Rocket Zombies. Last night we were on there grinding for like 3 hours. But like just like things like that. Like I can be normal with these guys. We can come off the floor and we can laugh, we can joke, chop it up about anything that's going on. Literally just be around and be with each other. That is a gift in itself. We share a lot of laughs. We enjoy each other's company, and as brothers would, what I'm saying? We vibe.
How many of you guys how many of you guys play? Maybe you're on the road. Obviously there's not a lot to do on the road, but how many guys on the team play?
It gets tricky on the road because you want to play COD with some high level internet. Sometimes Four Seasons be lacking on us. Sometimes some of the hotels they don't got the internet speed to keep up with the level I'm trying to play at. But a lot of the guys play though. Everybody downloads it. We always be on Warzone together. In and out of multiplayer together. We play the game. We're young, and it's what we know. That's kind of our escape from work, from life. It's a hobby that we all enjoy, and we be on the game, especially the Warzone. That's kind of brought everybody together.
I want you to be honest. I know you have the affiliation with the Call of Duty team. Are you the best player on the Magic?
The best player in the NBA too.
How did you get into this specific kind of game? Like I know for me, like I'm still a gamer. I'm sports guy only. The shooting games rattle me a little bit. How did you get into Call of Duty?
For me, it was SOCOM. It was the first shooter game I picked up. Playing SOCOM with my dad and his friends. They were one of the better clans, really in the country back then. And so I'd be downstairs in the basement, 4 years old, watching my dad play. They'd be in and out of GBs and matches, and then I'd finally get my turn to hop on right before I went to bed. So I had my little controller. I still remember it was translucent from the PS2. We're loading up SOCOM Navy SEALs. And my dad would say, "All right, we got Jalen coming on, no cussing. No more cussing, in these games." And I'd load up and play GBs at a young age like that, 4 or 5 years old, literally. So video games has always been a part of me. Madden, Call of Duty, SOCOM, 2K, whatever it is. And then so when I transitioned to COD, played it forever. I played every COD. But once I transitioned and started playing GBs myself, Black Ops 3, first year I got into professional gaming, professional Call of Duty. I first started following Optic Gaming, and I fell in love with Optic, to be honest, and their players, their org, the way that they put out content, just how authentically them they got to be. I think Hex creates an environment where people can come in and be the best version of themselves. And I like how we do here, in our building. I think that's why I love them so much. But they got me in a competitive COD, and I ain't looked back since. Every year a COD comes out, I'm grinding GBs, I'm on the ladders, I'm in the rank play, I'm working.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. It's always good to get those competitive juices out elsewhere. You hounding people as much on the game as you are on the court.
For real, I do.
I did get the chance to ask this on Friday, but top play on SportsCenter Friday night, Saturday morning, that full court pass to Franz. What did you see on that play? Is that something that you practice? Is that something that you guys worked on at all?
Nah, we don't work on that often. I really don't work on it at all. Every time that we've done it, it's always just been in real time. And I'll look at him in the eyes. He'll look me in the eyes. We'll give each other a head nod, and it's on. So after the first free throw, we looked at each other, kind of stared at each other. He said, "Yeah," and so I told P, I said, "Yo, let me take the ball out." And yeah, they were playing at the 3-point line off the free throw, so that was kind of a no-brainer. We were throwing that one up there, and yeah, Boog's special at catching them and finishing those passes. Honestly, that's another part of it. He still has to put it in the basket, and yeah, that's a skill of his. Be a great wideout.
Be great wideout. Yeah, too
Great
bad they play the wrong football in Germany.
wideout.
Obviously we're on the eve of the season beginning. I know this is a season that fans are really excited about. I'm sure you guys are too. What are you like the night before the season begins? You know, like every possibility is in front of you. What gets you most excited about a new year beginning?
More opportunities to go to war with my brothers, literally. Especially coming off of last year, feeling the playoff series, feeling every game matter down the stretch. Instead of we have a selected end date, which is whatever the day the last game is. We were playing for something, and it was in our control. And so that's what gets me excited is whatever's going on, in life, in the building, in negotiations. I know I get to come in every day and hoop with my brothers, and go to war. And I take a lot of pride in that, you know what I'm saying? And I take a lot of pride doing it for them, for myself, and for the city of Orlando. And so, there's no better way to do it than head right down the road to Miami and go get a headbanger night one. So, yeah, just super geeked up, very excited, and looking forward to another season in the NBA.
You guys obviously have huge ambitions to keep growing off of what you guys did last year. How do you think, I've been around training camp. It did feel a little different. Can you put your finger on maybe what felt different about this camp, knowing what you learned last year and knowing what you're trying to accomplish this year?
Yeah, it has been different. Our approach has been so much better. Last year we were establishing a culture and a belief factor. That's a big thing we talked about last year with belief. I remember Boogie said it in one of our first meetings, training camp, was we have to start believing that we can win, these games, that we can win every game. And we were establishing that, and you could feel it come on as the season continued to go and roll, and we're winning games, and people were healthy, we were playing together. You could feel that belief, already setting in. And, and then we lost in 7, a game that we had in our hands. We literally gave away that we lost. A lot of shouts out to Cleveland, but we lost that game. And nobody wanted to feel that again. Even you could feel the energy leaving the Cleveland arena. Nobody was satisfied. Like, we knew we had let it slip away. And so I think everybody carried that into their summers, and applied it, in their own way. And, you come back and you see everybody just with a year of maturity, with an understanding of what we're working towards. And, when you really understand what you're working towards, you don't let yourself dip below a standard, because you're cheating yourself. You're cheating the gift, and you're cheating the opportunity that we all have. Because we know it's something special. A group of young, talented, great people, who have the chance to come out. And you saw OKC did it last year. They were Western Conference Finals, a couple of plays away from, playing in the finals. Maybe talking about a different story this year. We feel like we're right there. We feel like we can take that leap, and therefore nobody's letting each other slip, below that standard, that Moses talked about.
You guys are still, you talk about being another year wiser, another year more mature. You guys are still, I think, like one of the 10 youngest teams in the league. Does it sometimes surprise you, like how different things feel, or how much you gained from last season?
Yeah, it does. Honestly, I think that's one of the beauties in getting to grow up in the NBA is that you have to grow up a bit faster. You know what I'm saying? Just this workplace and this work environment, induces that. And, either you rise to it, or you fall. And that's when you see guys, missing their opportunities. And, it's easy to fall out of this league, which come back full circle. This extension here is another reason why it's a blessing. I'm continuing to establish myself, in this place, in this workplace, not only with my brothers on the team, but for everybody, all the players in the NBA. I talk about going to war, and we're battling. We do battle, but there's a respect factor for everybody who's in this league, because the work that it takes, the stress that comes along with it. So you want to see all your brothers succeed, who are a part of this real brotherhood, that you call the NBA. So, we may be young, but this league grows you up quick, and that's a good thing.
You guys are young, but you are definitely mighty and making your way in the league. And obviously, Jalen, making your way off the court as well. Congratulations again on the extension. Well deserved, well earned. And I may have to pick up Call of Duty, and hopefully I don't find you, because I am sure I am an easy headshot.
Nah, it's good. You can join the squad. Come squad up.
Just protect me, please.
No, I got you.
Appreciate it, Jalen.
Thank you, brother.
I want to thank Jalen for taking the time. I know today is a very, very busy day. I'm sure he has a lot of people that he needs to call, a lot of people wishing him congratulations, a lot of people, just an overwhelming feeling. I hope you could tell how genuine those emotions were from Jalen. Very, very thankful that he gave the time. And again, this was thanks to our friends at Call of Duty Black Ops. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launches globally on October 25th, wherever you download or buy your video games. Check it out today. Jalen Suggs is a big Call of Duty fan. So are several players on the Orlando Magic. So we appreciate him taking the time and appreciate our friends from Call of Duty for making Jalen available. So where did the Magic go from here? Obviously, we start the regular season. That's where we go next. But what this signing means for the Orlando Magic moving forward, we'll wrap the show up with that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. Halloween, October is the time where we confront our fears. It is the time when we face what scares us. We wear masks, we wear costumes, we do anything to hide ourselves or be someone a little bit different. But therapy can help you learn who you are, so you don't need that mask, that superhero costume to face your fears. Therapy can help you learn to accept all parts of yourself so you can take off the mask and be genuinely you. Therapy has helped me throughout various points in my life. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Take off the mask with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. It is a rare thing what the Orlando Magic have done over the last few years. We live in a world that loves the NBA transaction cycle, that really hungers for these kind of discussions and hungers for these moves. I was being asked so many questions throughout the day and really throughout the last few weeks saying, do you think Jalen Suggs is going to sign? And then what amount? And I was always like, knowing how this Magic team operates, knowing how important he is to this team, I had zero doubt that the Magic were going to take care of him. Again, look at Jeff Weltman's history. One of the first moves he did was sign Aaron Gordon to an extension, sign Nikola Vucevic to a new contract. It was, after the big trades, to say that Jeff Weltman doesn't do anything. After the big trades, Jeff Weltman has methodically re-signed all of his players. Wendell Carter is on his second Jeff Weltman contract. Cole Anthony got a new deal last year, and we were wringing our hands about that, curious about what his value would be. He signed Markelle Fultz to an extension. This is a Magic team that has always taken care of their own, at least since Jeff Weltman has been the president of basketball operations. For a player as important as Jalen Suggs, it was inevitable that they would take care of him, that they would make sure that he got a deal that was fair to both sides, that spoke to his value to the team, as well as spoke to what this team is building. Ultimately, a lot of the decisions that are happening around the league and a lot of the controversial decisions that are happening around the league are controversial because of the context in which they take place. The Orlando Magic are a winning team. The Orlando Magic are a team that is competing for something real in the playoffs. You heard Jalen talk about it. They weren't satisfied in games, just getting to a game 7. They felt how gutted they were and remembered how gutted they were leaving Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse last summer. They remember that feeling and they want more. They're not satisfied with where they're at. And it's that attitude, that maturity that's come this year that makes you believe what this Magic team is building. There will be pitfalls, there will be obstacles, there will be decisions that have to be made. But Jeff Weltman made this sort of his ethos earlier in the summer. He said, continuity only works if you're winning. And while he understands there will be tough decisions to be made, the Magic cut Markelle Fultz. That was an extremely tough decision, I am sure. While there are tough decisions to be made in the very near future, this team has shown its willingness to grow and its ability to grow. That is worth investing in. If the Magic had gone 40-42 last year, made the play-in tournament, we'd all be sitting here saying like, okay, there's something maybe developing, but maybe we have to pick between young prospects. Maybe we have to be careful about the contracts we hand out. Instead, this is a 47-win team, the 5 seed in the East, one of the youngest teams in the league, a team that still has this incredibly bright future. The Magic want to keep this core family together. Paolo, Franz, Jalen, J.I. to some extent, Wendell. They want to keep this group together and continue to allow them to blossom. If this team faced one of these obstacles, if they had fallen short, then we'd ask a lot of questions. Then we'd think about some of these things and some of these contracts perhaps. If the Magic had won 40 games last year and Jalen Suggs wasn't an all-defensive team player, we're having a different conversation today. Because then there's uncertainty. Then you don't know what's truly possible. And there isn't that, proof of concept to keep building. Instead, what the Magic did last year really did change everything. It gave you, increased everyone's value and everyone gets paid more, get that check. But it increased what's possible, what this team can do, and increased the belief in where this team is heading next. This is a huge season, obviously, for the Orlando Magic. And we're on the eve of the season. We'll preview and talk a little bit more about what to expect from the Orlando Magic this season on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic from Miami. But this is a team that at its very, very core is a family. That's the culture they built. That's the atmosphere they built. That's what has allowed them to be more. They hold each other accountable. They want the same things. They all work hard. They play for each other. You can, again, hear so much of what Jalen talked about in the interview you just listened to. It's not about him. We're not talking about how many points Jalen Suggs is going to score. We're not talking about how many assists he's going to make. We're talking about what he brings to this team from an attitude, from a swagger, from an intensity, the head of the snake on defense, the key to this team's identity. The Magic aren't going to gamble with that identity. They're not going to gamble with the family that they've built until they have to make some tough choices. That day is not today, though. And even if the Magic didn't get to a deal, they're bringing him back. He was far too important, which just made it make more sense to get a deal done. The Magic have their core set. And that's going to enable them to keep growing and keep building and to have the kind of season that shows that they're ready to break through and be a championship level team. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. I want to thank Jalen Suggs again for joining the show. I know he is very, very busy today, and I appreciate him taking some time to talk with me a little bit, especially on this really, really big day. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I enjoyed talking with Jalen. Jalen is one of the great dudes in the NBA. You can, of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipR_OMD. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, all information on podcasts to your podcast enabled device. You can find us as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic on YouTube or go to youtube.com/@LockedOnMagic. And of course, don't forget to check out our brand new newsletter. Monday through Friday, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter. It's the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. I'll be posting on the Orlando Magic Hub every game. My full post-game article will go up on the Orlando Magic Hub first, as well as 3 takeaways the morning after the game, breaking down what we learned about the Magic from each game as we get this NBA season started. I would be remiss if I didn't remind you all that early voting in Florida has opened. Monday was the first day of early voting, so please go check out your local county supervisor of elections office to get your ballot, to view your sample ballot. If you didn't already get your mail ballot, I still got to fill out mine, and go out and vote. This is an important election. Every election is important, no matter if it's the president or not. It's an important election. Go make your voice heard. Early voting in Florida is open. Check with your local supervisor of elections office for all your voting information. They should be able to help you, point you in the right direction of what you need to do. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. No guests tomorrow, but we'll be down in Miami to preview the Orlando Magic's first game of the season and what to expect this year. We'll get to that tomorrow on Locked On Magic, but until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.